Hello, Dr. Rodriguez. My name is Alexandra Barker, and it's May 29th, 2022. And today I finished the last dissection for this course. I dissected a pig kidney. So this is our kidney here. This outside portion, this is the renal capsule, and it contains everything that we find within the kidney. I also cut it along its cordonal plane. So open up and we see all the internal structures like so. And the first structure I want to point out, this is this lighter area here on the perimeter of the kidney. This is the renal cortex. And the renal cortex is important because it houses the heads of the nephrons. Just deep to the renal cortex, this darker area here in the middle, this is the renal medulla. And the renal medulla is important because it houses the loops of the nephrons. Now, within the medulla, there's a few more structures I want to point out. One of those would be the renal pyramid. So these darker triangles here, you see those? And the tips of these triangles, you can kind of think of them pointing inward. So this would be the peak and this would be the base. And the baseline's the renal cortex here. So those are the renal triangles. And then in between the renal triangles, we have the renal columns, and they separate out the renal triangles, and there's many of them, as you can see here. Next, as the kidney produces urine and starts funneling it down into these tubes down to eventually to reach our bladder, the first structure this new produced urine encounters would be the minor calces. And then minor calces are these tiny tubes here where they kind of funnel in some of the urine coming from the pyramids. And then the minor calces turn into the major calces when about 5 or 6 of them come and join in these larger parts here. And then eventually the major calces form the renal pelvis, which is this large area here. And so everything, all the urine is then funneled into the medial part of the kidney and then exits through the renal hilum, which is an opening in the middle medial part of the kidney here. And the medial hilum is important because it also is the entry and exit point for not just the renal pelvis, but also for the renal nerves, the renal artery, and the renal vein. So then from the renal pelvis, it exits the renal hilum, and it connects to the superior aspect of the ureter, which is here. And the ureter will eventually feed out, travel all the way down our abdomen, and then pool into our bladder. And this is where the urine will be stored until micturition. The last thing I want to touch on in this dissection is the renal sinus. And the renal sinus is this center portion here. This is just an area that kind of houses the renal pelvis, and it is composed with a lot of adipose tissue, as we can kind of see here, that is within the renal sinus. So renal cortex, renal medulla, renal pyramids, renal columns, minor and major calces. Then we have the renal pelvis, the renal sinus, and then we have the renal hilum, and then we have the superior ureter here. And that is the dissection for the pig kidney today. I hope you learned something, and you can go forward today with your newfound kidney knowledge and have a good one. So I will see you next week, Dr. Rodriguez. I hope you enjoy. Next time.